So to trigger a release of brain-derived neurotropic factor, fast. Another thing that triggers this release is low carbohydrates. This is what the science is showing. Low carbs or low starches. Many Americans in Australia have cereal and toast for breakfast, sandwiches for lunch, pasta for tea. That's almost 100% carbohydrate. We've got to get the carbohydrates down. Now, all grains are high in protein, but they're very high in carb, whereas your legumes, they are high in protein, but they are medium to low in carbohydrates. And your nuts and your seeds, they're very low in carbohydrates. So to get the carbohydrates down, greatly reduce the grains. That's the best way to get the carbohydrates down. What also causes a release of brain-derived neurotropic factor is the high intensity interval training. This is running for your life for 30 seconds and having a rest for 2 or 3 minutes and doing that about 6 times. That huge blast of energy causes the blood to start moving very fast, going into all the little extremities, especially the brain. What also causes a release of brain-derived neurotropic factor is full hydration. The brain cannot function if it's dehydrated. Our brain is a hydroelectric system, so no hydro, and that's water, no electricity. So full hydration, how does full hydration happen? At least 8 glasses of water throughout the day, with that little bit of Celtic salt with every glass. And what that does, that Celtic salt with its 3 magnesium, it causes the water to be pulled inside the cell. What also causes a release of brain-derived neurotropic factor is early nights. What totally blocks a release of the brain-derived neurotropic factor is eyes. You see, your eyes are an extension of your brain, is eye exposure to technology. And do you remember those hours? That computer, that television has to be switched off before 9. But it's a documentary that you've been waiting to see for a while. Well, because of iView, because of recording, you don't have to watch it at that time. 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. I went to a lecture by Dr. Agatha Thrash. She's passed now, but she did a mighty work. And someone asked her the question, how often can you afford a late night? She said, about once every 2 years. Got that? Once every 2 years. You almost can't make up for those late nights. So to cause a release of brain-derived neurotropic factor, make sure you're going to bed early. Number 6, sunshine. Your brain needs sunshine, and it gets sunshine through your eyes. So every day, ideally, it's a bit hard in Vancouver at the moment because we've got a lot of rain, but we did have a little bit of sunshine yesterday. As I do this list, have you noticed I'm actually going over the 8 laws of health, and that brings us to another one, and that is things that can inhibit the release is caffeine. The reason why sugar inhibits the release is because it overloads the brain with fuel, alcohol. Also drugs, and the drugs specifically that I'm referring to are the mind-altering drugs, whether they be legal or illegal, and tobacco. Tobacco robs the brain of oxygen. So for various reasons and in various ways, all of these substances inhibit the body's ability to release brain-derived neurotropic factor. Notice in this cell, now this cell here is in every brain cell, these energy cycles. Notice how much energy we're getting with oxygen compared to a cell that doesn't get the oxygen, very little energy. And so that's where pure air comes into it. If a person's smoking cigarettes, they've got a huge reduction in oxygen going to the cell. And if a person is breathing in moldy air, chemical air, stale air, bad air, it inhibits the brain working properly because we're only getting this much energy instead of that much energy. Isn't it amazing how science is now showing that the 8 laws of health are stimulating a release of brain-derived neurotropic factor. And when brain-derived neurotropic factor is released, it causes the state of neurogenesis to happen. That means new brain cells.